Welcome to another episode of the Electric Samba project. If you've been following the series, you will know that these days I find myself playing around with some recently acquired Tesla battery modules. Last week, I discussed a little bit about the modules details. But today, I will discuss possible ways of wiring them in a car and then actually install them in the Samba to go for a ride. The modules are 22 parallel and 15 cells in series. These cells are 3.7 volts nominal and you can charge them to 4.2 volts. So fully charged, the modules will give you 4.2 times 15, about 63 volts. If you connect two modules in series, you will have 126 volts right after fully charging them. Pretty much a perfect match for any HP EVS system using the 96 volt Curtis 1238 controller. Of course, voltage is just half the story. Even though the voltage is pretty much a perfect fit for my system, you have to take into account current. The 1238 controller draws up to 650 amps at full throttle. If you take a look at the individual modules, you will see that each of the 330 individual cells are fused on both sides, the anode and the cathode. Plus, there is a 100 amp A50QS100-4 fuse on the negative terminal. So on paper, each string of two modules in series will serve up to 100 amps of the 650 amp needed to run my system to full power. So in theory, you will need a minimum of 6 strings to run a 650 amp system. These modules here came from the first battery pack we got our hands on. Each pack has 6 modules. We experimented, in the lab with one module, so that leaves me with 5 modules. But since I need pairs, that means that I could only and currently have 4 to install and experiment with my Samba. Now, we pretty much know what's going to happen when I try to draw 3 times the current these modules are fused at. But since there are a lot of these modules coming our way, it's important to see how far we can push them. What's going to fail first, the main 100 amp fuse or the individual cell fuses? Now we just don't know until we test it. And of course I can test them here on my bench in a controlled environment, or I can have some fun on the Samba and go for a drive. Alright, let's do it. Let's put these puppies to the test. What do you know? The Samba's rolling around with actual Tesla battery. Here you can see to your right that I'm using 2 cell logs to monitor one module. Every single group of cells is represented by one bar. Bruce and Wayne are my sidekicks, so they come along for this test. Shift down. So the voltage is it was about 123, I think. So it goes down to 95, 400. So they are sagging quite a bit. But then again, keep in mind there's only 44 cells pushing this car right now. 50 miles per hour. Let's see if I can push more than 400 amps right here in this little hill. Let's do it. All right, 200, 300, 430, 500, 642. Ooh, I think I blew a fuse. Something happened. So no surprise, 2 of the 4 100 amp fuses blew when I was trying to push 650 amps through the system. Fortunately, I was able to switch battery packs by just flipping a switch and thus make it back home. Alright, well that was fun, but here's a question. Did we actually learn anything from this, our little test here? Well, I think we actually did. One, we learned that cells actually dished out 650 amps. That's quite impressive for those little cells. That represents a 6C load, or near a 6C. It's each module is about 55 amp hours, and so we had two parallels. So the battery pack is really 110 amp hours. And we were pulling 600, so 660 would be 6C. The system did hit 650 just momentarily. The HPAVS little system display was showing me amperage, and it showed 650 amps for a brief moment before the fuses failed. Another thing that we learn is that the cells become warm to the touch rather quickly. I think our whole test took about 15 minutes, and we weren't pushing it really hard the whole time. We were, drawing an average about 200 amps most of the time, and then, just going up the hills. There was a few times where there was spikes and up to 400, 500 amps, and then that last one that was about 650. So the cool thing is that, of course, they are water cooled. They're liquid cooled. They have everything that you need to be able to cool them. And I wasn't running any cooling through them, and because I wanted to see exactly what the temperature would be just running them straight. And then I want to run a second test where I'll be able to, I'll hook up some cooling to them and then just see, how much better they'll do. We might be able to drive one of these systems with 6 modules, because that is one battery pack. So we won't have to break additional packs to be able to use with this. I mean, you can, or you will be able to if you wanted more capacity or more range on your battery, but we want to see if the minimum amount of modules that you use are the 6 that are included in one battery pack. So that's the test that we want to do here. What else did we learn? Oh, we also learned that the fuses that are replaceable, which are the Shamit 100 amp ones, they're obviously designed to blow before the individual cell fuses do. It kind of makes sense, because you don't want the little fuses that are not really replaceable, you can't really fix them, to blow before the one that you can replace. So the one question really remains, what are the individual cell fuses rated at? We don't know. I was thinking about actually putting like a bigger fuse, or just bypassing running the packs on fuse and then running it again 650 amps, and see if I could start blowing those fuses in each individual cell. But the more I'm thinking about it, I just can't get myself to damage another module. You know, we did kind of destroyed one originally when we were trying to see if the cells would be able to come apart and, you know, we would be able to rearrange them. This time though, I don't want to destroy another one, and the reason why is because there is another way of doing it. We have you know, the original module that we destroyed, we still have it here, and it has good cell fuses still intact, so I could actually run a test in one of them and then figure it out. So I think that's the better way of doing it. So let's do that right now. So thank you for watching this video. Make sure to catch next week's episode for more electric samba adventures. Next week, bye.
We almost lost our wheel right here.
Folks, if you enjoy my videos, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and join the conversation down below by leaving a comment. If you don't, then also leave me a comment so I can make these videos better. Thank you.